Coming up on this edition of We Are Washington.
D.C. makes a huge investment in crime prevention. Plus, fierce competition lands some of the best dancers in the country right here in D.C.
We're here to just live life to the fullest.
See the action from the Red Bull Dance Your Style competition.
And later, it's hats off to Vanilla Beane.
Thank you for being a friend.
Celebrate 100 years with the best-known milliner in the nation's capital.
We have those stories coming up. The news rundown is straight ahead. We Are Washington starts now. Welcome to We Are Washington. I'm Matt Granato.
And I'm Cecily Fernandez. This week, we're talking about a major expansion of the district's crime camera network, move-in day on the historic St. Elizabeth's East Campus, and a feast of sharing brings residents together at the convention center.
Then, D.C.'s very own hat lady, Vanilla Beane, turns 100. We'll bring you her inspiring story as we visit her hat shop in Northwest, where she still loves to go to work every day. We'll have those features coming up on the way, but now let's get to the news rundown. The district plans to expand its citywide crime camera network by 70% with a $5 million investment. Mayor Bowser and Police Chief Peter Newsham announced the expansion that will add at least 140 cameras to MPD's network. The new cameras will have higher resolution and the ability to shift their view towards sound.
We regard this as one tool, another tool in our toolbox for fighting crime and making neighborhoods safer across the District of Columbia.
The use of camera technology plays a vital role in deterring and solving crimes, including some of our most violent offenses. I personally believe it's one of the advances in technology that has been most significant in helping law enforcement.
Some of the first camera installations are happening in areas outlined by the mayor's Fall Crime Prevention Initiative, a program designed to focus district law enforcement resources into specific neighborhoods to build safer, stronger communities.
A new law in the district strengthens the rights of survivors of sexual assault. Mayor Muriel Bowser signed the Sexual Assault Victims' Rights Amendment Act of 2019 into law and thanked survivors and advocates for their contributions in helping craft the legislation. The new law is a result of feedback from victims and advocates on how to improve outcomes for survivors of sexual assault and reflects best practices in responding to the needs of victims.
The DC Justice for Survivors campaign looks forward to this next phase in improving the district's response to sexual assault and believes we can be a model for other jurisdictions around the country in ensuring that the pathways to assistance are accessible, equitable, and uphold the dignity of those seeking it. We are confident in the commitment and abilities of those mandated to carry this out, and have appreciated that our district leaders have consistently sought and welcomed survivor voice in this process.
The Women's Bar Association of D.C. held a panel discussion called The Cost of Injustice, an insider's perspective on the prison system.
Alice Johnson, who recently had her sentence commuted with the help of Kim Kardashian, was among 3 speakers who shared their experience of being in prison and the impact it had on their families.
It has really sparked a bigger dialogue on the need to strike down the mandatory minimums, sentencing guidelines. Also, the laws changed while I was incarcerated for the 21 years, 7 months, and 6 days. The laws changed, but because they weren't retroactive, they didn't apply to me. I would have been home over a decade ago.
In the beginning, I had a lot of rage, and my first few years I was in solitary confinement, and I had to really hone in on who I was and what I was made of, and just fight for everything that I believed in, which is my liberty and justice.
The discussion focused on the social and economic impact of mass incarceration and the potential of recent federally enacted prison reforms. To learn more, visit WBADC.org.
The Georgetown chapter of March for Our Lives held a discussion on gun violence. Mayor Muriel Bowser and Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut were among the speakers who stressed the importance of federal gun control legislation. March for Our Lives is a national student-led organization dedicated to reducing gun violence.
Hundreds of brand new and reappointed members of city boards, commissions, and task forces are sworn in to support and defend the District of Columbia.
I will faithfully discharge these duties. Congratulations, Commissioners.
D.C. boards and commissions serve a vital role offering guidance on functions of the district government in areas such as licensing, regulation, policymaking, and management. Mayor Bowser administered the oath at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center. Following the ceremony, the mayor took photos and celebrated with the new commissioners and their guests.
Care First is awarding more than $2 million in grants to organizations in the D.C. region that support maternal and child health. The grants are expected to impact more than 10,000 patients across the D.C. region. The organizations were chosen by Care First based on their work to improve birth outcomes and maternal and child health.
Mayor Bowser welcomed the first residents of a new apartment community at the historic St. Elizabeth's East campus. The residences at St. Elizabeth East include 202 affordable apartments in Congress Heights. The new community is adjacent to the entertainment and sports arena and is part of what the mayor calls the reimagined St. Elizabeth's. Mayor Bowser is breaking ground on Ward 8's first ever affordable assisted living community.
The homes, known as Livingston Place at Southern, are reserved for seniors age 60 or older who would otherwise be unable to afford assisted living.
We always have to keep in mind that senior who has worked and has saved and has a fixed income who cannot absorb year-over-year increases in their rent. And that is the group of people that we all need to be focused on when we think about building new units, when we think about supporting rental units, when we think about all of the things that we do in housing. Let's keep that group of residents in mind.
Livingston Place at Southern will have 152 affordable homes for seniors, along with on-site health care.
Mayor Bowser was the featured guest on the latest edition of George Talks Business. The 30-minute interview series presented by the George Washington School of Business gives audience members a chance to hear from thought leaders and business and government. Mayor Bowser addressed a wide range of topics during her interview, from why she chose to pursue a career in government to describing a typical day as the mayor. She also shared her advice to anyone considering a career in politics, saying it takes courage.
Thousands of residents came together for Safeway's 20th anniversary Feast of Sharing at the Convention Center. The annual event provides a free Thanksgiving meal to those in need and provides an opportunity to volunteers looking to give back for the holiday.
They were dancing in the aisles at the 2019 Go-Go Awards at Ballou High School. Among the winners, Female Singer of the Year, Sweet Thang, Male Singer of the Year, Weensy, and DJ of the Year, our friend, DJ Rico. To see more of the show, you can check it out soon on DCN's display. Congratulations to DJ Rico, good friend of ours, right?
Yeah, of course, everybody loves DJ Rico.
You gotta love Rico.
You know, if you want a party, invite DJ Rico.
That's right.
Instant party.
The noisemaker.
Exactly.
All right. Well, moving on to some other items. One thing we didn't get to in the news block today, but we have to talk about, is the Turkey Bowl. Turkey Bowl 50. It was a historic event in D.C. Everybody, who's into high school sports in the district knows that the Turkey Bowl is a tradition. It's a Thanksgiving tradition for high school football. And this year it turned 50 years old. The matchup between Dunbar and H.D. Woodson, it's a familiar matchup that we've seen before.
I'm always so impressed how many residents come out on Thanksgiving for this game. I'm always wondering, like, do they put their turkey in before they go, or how do they manage?
Here's a picture right here. Some people definitely recognize of Coach Bob Heaton, who is the winningest high school football coach in D.C. He had a lot of players under his tutelage that ended up in the NFL, and a lot of people know his name and face for sure.
Yeah, it's a great tradition, and we can't thank our coaches enough.
No, I know.
DC has so many great athletes. DC as a city is not that big, so to have that many players go on to the NFL really says a lot.
It sure does.
About his coaching abilities and the athletes we have here in the district.
Moving on, one more thing that we have to talk about. This was from an event with Mayor Bowser. I saw this piece of video. I had to absolutely show it to you. It was just a great moment. She had Miranda at the event with her and starts dancing, you can see, and then Miranda gets into the dancing with her. So you can see a lot of people around dancing with them, but getting into the holiday spirit.
This is my own personal tradition of starting early with embarrassing your children with public dancing. It's really important, and I'm glad the mayor is starting early.
I know, yeah, it is nice. So Good that they were able to take part, and looks like they had a lot of fun.
Oh,
A lot of
definitely.
people enjoy seeing that sort of stuff.
Oh, we can't get enough.
That's right. All right, well, still to come. Get ready to dance. Some of the best from across the country land in D.C. for the Red Bull Dancer Style Dance Competition.
And later, for generations, she's created custom designs for everyday people and luminaries alike. Celebrate the 100th birthday of DC's hat lady, Vanilla Beane.
Welcome back. The 2019 Red Bull Dance Your Style competition at Howard Theater was a chance to determine who rules the dance floor in D.C.
From hip hop to house, lockin' to poppin', there's no planned choreography, just inspired performances as varied as the dancers themselves. Stall! 16 dancers, each with their own distinct style, competed in one-on-one battles, judged by an enthusiastic crowd gathered at the Howard Theater as part of the 2019 Red Bull Dance Your Style competition.
Oh, the competition is amazing. Everyone looks like they're having fun. I think that's the most important part about it.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Makes you want to dance, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah, show me some of your moves.
Oh, my moves?
The music ranged from contemporary hip-hop to classic R&B, and contestants had to adapt quickly to try and win over the crowd. When you go out there, you don't know what song they're gonna play?
Absolutely not, but it doesn't matter. That's a part of the game. When you jump in that ring, you know what I mean? You're accepting your fate, you know what I mean? Like, there's no excuses, and it's all about having fun for me at the end of the day, you know what I mean? You just gotta enjoy dancing.
I started with breaking, hip-hop, then started popping, then did house, and then went to locking. So my style is pretty much blending those five with whatever I want, how I want, whenever I want to do it, according to the music.
Audience members voted for their favorite dancers with LED wristbands by showing either a red or blue light. The winner of the competition in D.C. moves on to Las Vegas and then a shot at the World Dance Competition in Paris. And while the competition is fierce, the goal of the event is to inspire a love of dance by encouraging everyone to get out on the floor. Along with one-on-one battles, Dance Your Style also featured inspiring performances by Infinite Flow, a professional dance company dedicated to inclusion and innovation.
So I got paralyzed when I was 15, and before that I was an athlete and dancer. I didn't think I'd be able to do any of that again once I got paralyzed. And then, lo and behold, I started doing the things that I did before again, and I'm like, if I could do all these things, I could probably dance.
The winner is Lil O.
At the end of the day, it was Lil O who was the last man standing on the dance floor.
It's an amazing feeling. I've been thinking about this for months. I was like, I want to dance Red Bull. I want to do this and that with Red Bull, and I finally got the opportunity, and I'm so thankful I'm here.
Every song you seem ready to go, but was there one in particular when you heard the music that you were like, oh yeah, this one?
I appreciated the old school jams. It reminds me of growing up in Philly, family barbecues and cookouts. I'm like, I know exactly how this made me feel, and I just did it on a dance floor.
Who rules the dance floor? We were talking about that, and I figured after your experience with the DC Dancing with the Stars that maybe you would factor in, but
I didn't rule that particular
Not
dance
that
floor.
particular
No,
dance
I did
floor.
not.
Oh,
but
okay.
I did challenge, as I was talking to people, I challenged some of them on the side for a little battle, and
Gave 'em some
I
tips.
held my own. You know, I showed them some old school moves that they could incorporate.
Pointers.
It was a great event.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, she's known as DC's Hat Lady, creating handmade custom designs for everyone from churchgoers to well-known public figures. After the break, celebrate 100 years with Vanilla Beane.
Vanilla Beane gained national prominence for her custom-made hats that became fashion statements for Maya Angelou and civil rights icon Dorothy Height. As DC's hat lady reaches a major milestone, we look back on her remarkable life.
So special. She's been an inspiration to me and a source of strength for me throughout my whole life.
It was a chance to show off one-of-a-kind hats, custom made by DC's hat lady, as friends and family gathered for an elegant tea organized by Mayor Bowser to commemorate Vanilla Beane's 100th birthday.
We are very proud of everything that you've been able to do and demonstrate. And you've made so many people happy with your hats. But I think you've also shown a lot of people how to be in business and stay in business. And that's no small thing. And I think you have shown a lot of people that there is no sense of retiring.
The tea was just one of a series of events to pay tribute to the most celebrated milliner in the nation's capital.
I've been up early. I've been to the White House.
Her clients would grow to include civil rights icon Dorothy Height and Maya Angelou. But her path to success wasn't easy. In 1955, she worked at the Washington Millinery Supply Company. And when the owner retired, the aspiring hat designer purchased his supplies and started her own business called Beane Millinery and Bridal Supplies. Today, she serves as a role model for young entrepreneurs.
You have to work at it every day. It's not something you can let somebody else do. I didn't get this far by myself. I had family and friends. You can't do it alone. You have to have help from other people.
After a long day of tributes and celebrations, Vanilla Beane was ready to embark on a new century. Back at her shop, doing what she loves.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you.
Happy birthday to Vanilla Beane. Definitely a DC institution, and it's an honor if you can have a hat made by Vanilla Beane. Now 100 years old. How about that?
She's such a sweet lady, and it was so great to meet her. And I would encourage people, there's actually a 3D replica of one of her hats at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. So I would encourage people to go see that. But even better, you can go to her shop on 3rd Street.
Check it out.
And have a hat made for a special occasion. Great thing to do.
That would be special, right? Well, that's all the time that we have for today. But we do have time for one last thing.
This was such a great event at the O Museum celebrating Rosa Parks, who's being honored at the Library of Congress with an exhibit. So many people don't know that Rosa Parks actually lived at the O Street Mansion for nearly a decade. And so the museum celebrated her life. They asked Darius Rucker of Hootie and the Blowfish and Cyril Neville, who recorded a song, Rosa Parks. They gave a great performance, and it was just really moving. And it was nice to see that she has such a connection to DC. And you can go to the O Street Museum and see a lot of memorabilia of her life, and I think even visit her room where she stayed for many years.
Yeah, at O Street they do. They have that room sort of kept in the condition that it was in when she stayed there, would frequent there. You can go check that out. And then, yes, the Library of Congress is about to have their exhibit as well. But that, I mean, that's a great way to really celebrate that. Darius Rucker, very talented, spanning multiple genres of music and still, keeping up with it today. Nice way to celebrate that, and it sounded really good.
Very fun. It was a great event.
All right, well, that is all the time that we have for you today. We'd like to say thank you for joining us. And if you enjoyed hanging out with us and spending a little bit of time, you can go on YouTube right now and search Entertain DC, and we have our playlist of all of the different features, all of the different episodes, everything We Are Washington, and there's a lot.
A lot of good stuff there.
You can check it out right now, yeah.
See you next time.